keys and codes, combinations and revelations. No longer restricted access. This is a place of elevation. He gave me power over position and wisdom for my reality. He said no weapon formed would be a match for my vitality, which brings me to this moment, this fight, this wave. I'm standing in my purpose. I'm standing in my wealthy place. Purpose Producer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Purpose Producer Podcast. Are you enjoying this season? I'm having a good time, and that's all I want for you. So I'm your host, Georgia Dawkins, and executive producer. I can't wait to jump into today's show. My guest today is one of my good friends. We met just a couple years ago, but it feels like I've known him a lifetime. I mean, really feels like we share the same DNA sometimes. But he is a fellow producer, director, filmmaker extraordinaire, and really a great host. So I can't wait to introduce you to his show. His name is Keith Terrell. Keith,
Georgia,
welcome to the show. Was that better? Did I sound like I was in my head?
Thank you for that introduction.
Okay.
That was great.
Was it good? Okay,
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so let's start the show like I do with all of my guests, and that is with the definition of a purpose producer.
Okay.
A purpose producer is someone who's using his or her gifts to help others reach their destiny. So, who are you and what makes you a purpose producer?
Again, I'm Keith Terrell, director, producer, writer. And what makes me a purpose producer, I believe that I'm making content that is a part of my purpose, which is inspiring others and then also helping others to reach their goals in this industry along the way.
He said again, because we've already taped this twice, and we're really hoping that the third time is a charm. So you are a visionary. When did you know that you were a filmmaker?
When did I know that I was a filmmaker? I don't think you know you're a filmmaker till you make a film, unless you just speak it, but you still got to put in the work. But, I've always been in entertainment. So before I got into film, I did music. And so I've always been an entertainer and a storyteller. And so I went back to school and got my degree in film. Back in 2013 is when I graduated. So since then, I've been behind the camera.
When you were in film school back in 2013, did you know that you would be where you are today? Like, did you have it all planned out?
No, it's not a plan. So I think you have a vision for where you want to go, but you don't know how you're going to get there necessarily. So, I'm still not where I'm going to be. It's a lot more things to accomplish, things to produce and direct, but I'm enjoying the journey.
Is this just the beginning?
It's just the beginning, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what's next. So let's take it back. When you first, graduated and you got that very first opportunity, that opportunity, is always like very special because it shapes, how you proceed with your career thereafter. So what were the key relationships that you developed on your first opportunity?
Key relationships. So my first opportunity in the industry, I worked at BET. I was office production assistant. And so, the executive producers, Monique and Alex Chenault, are who gave me my start. And Alex Chenault was, became a mentor, somebody that I kind of modeled myself after. He and I both like Zara, so I would dress up, and we would have similar swags, And he's just somebody that in my career, I try to emulate the type of relationships I saw him have, just the way he carried himself as a Black man. And so, other producers, Darius Brown's a good friend of mine who's a producer, lives in New York now. So every time, I'm in New York, I hit him up and, he saw me start as a production assistant and now I'm directing and producing projects. So
I did not know you went back that far with everybody. I've worked with some of these people as well on our very first project. And that's really amazing. Like you just never know how full circle relationships will come. But as you continue to develop them, they have more value. So what are some key things about cultivating relationships that you do that maybe other people can learn from?
Don't ask people for stuff all the time or at all. Like when I hit people up, it's really to just check on them, unless it's somebody that I know is hiring for a project or something, and I might, shoot a resume. But other than that, if I'm hitting somebody up, it's genuinely just to see how they're doing and keep in touch,
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you being that friend. Good for dropping a good playlist in the middle of the day,
my playlists are fire for sure. So, I rock with you if I send you songs or if I send you memes. So if those stop, then I'm probably not rocking with you.
Look, you've been very consistent over the last couple of years. I'm really grateful for that opportunity that brought us together. And that was 2019 Central Lab from executive producer Will Packer. First entertainment news show hosted by two women of color, Afro-Latina, Dominican woman, as well as a Jamaican, Olympian. What was that opportunity like for you working on Central Lab?
I mean, it was great. I always love to have opportunities to work on television. I kind of dip and dive into all different arrays of film. And so what's good about television, I like the fast pace. You have to turn it around fast. And so I just really learned from, Monique Chenault, who was our showrunner, how to properly tell a story and be objective, and, how to put out the information in an entertaining but truthful way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the projects that were most important to my career as well. I mean, I learned a lot working under Monique and, under Alec as well. He was just such a light, unfortunately we lost him during the production. You've known him, you knew him way back when. What were some of the words of encouragement that maybe you said to yourself to help you get through that time?
It was a very tough time. So to try to go back and remember words that I said would be difficult because obviously, my first thing is I'm thinking about Monique and the family. I lost a mentor, somebody I looked up to, but they lost a husband, a father, So my first thing is to tap in with the family because I'm pretty close with the family. Yeah, good. And just kind of being there,
How does he show up in your work today?
How does he show up in my work? I think that I just strive for excellence in what I do. And so, that's how I keep the legacy alive of these people that kind of brought me up, is making sure that I'm doing the best that I can, that I'm representing myself, as a Black man in a light that others can look up to,
Yeah, you definitely are a great role model representation. You met my little brother, came through and did your little mentor side hug or whatever that.
Game night, we got to get another one of those popping
Game
too.
night for sure. How are you a mentor? How do you position yourself as a mentor in your career?
I think that, whenever I meet somebody on set and, I'm impressed by their work, then immediately, that's family. So they got my contact, they have access to my contacts, and I'm trying to find out what is it that you want to do. And anybody that's in my circle will tell you that if you tell me you want to do something, then I'm going to push you to do it. Like, you can't tell me you want to do something and then it's just like, I haven't done it yet. It's like, nah, what are you waiting for? Like, we got to put these projects out. So.
Oh, I'm triggered.
Yeah.
I feel like you're talking about me right in front of my face, on my show even, in front of my friends.
Well, you made it to season 3, so something worked.
You've definitely been holding me accountable, even after we worked on Central Lab, 2020, you were still on the show. I was no longer on the show, budget cuts, and I was having a hard time with that. You were there for me. We took a walk and we talked about not only this show, but your show.
Right.
So introduce us to Young Black and Vegan. How did that come about?
So Young Black and Vegan, ever since I went vegan, I was eating out a lot in LA, and it was an idea to do a show, but never really materialized. And so at the time when we took our Jill Scott long walk in the park, I wanted to bounce some ideas about the show to you. And yeah, you just kind of helped me, gave me some ideas. You helped me with my one sheet, and long story short, I put up the cameras and started shooting. So
I was amazed because, you came with the idea. We nailed down the name of the show. We talked through some segments. And, when I work with people on shows, it's more like it's a vision board,
right.
For long term. You were like, no, I'm going. Like, I'm going to start shooting in the next couple months. And you did it. Like, your first episode was in California?
The first episode, no. First episode was here in Atlanta with Stevie Bags Jr. So we went to Revolution Donuts and Life Bistro. There's a couple reasons why it happened fast. So my best friend, Dominique, we were on the phone and we were just kind of talking, and it was a time where I was kind of feeling down, and, I'm like, you know what? I got all of this equipment. We need to just shoot some stuff. And so, I told him the idea. He loved the idea. And I shot the first episode, and I was talking to him on the phone, and I was going to tell him about it. But I was like, nah, you know what? I'm going to wait until it's edited. And then he passed away, unfortunately. So I didn't get a chance to tell him that I actually shot the show. And so I'm also kind of doing the show in remembrance of him. And because, he was the same age as me, he passed, I believe he was 38 at the time. So it's even more important to me that we do this show, that we kind of tell people that there are healthier choices and options out there.
Hi, my name is Georgia, and I'm the production manager at ClearMix. I've worked in production for about 15 years. I've worked in television genres including morning news, evening news, reality TV, entertainment news, you name it. In this video, we're going to be covering the entire ClearMix production process. The first part of getting started with ClearMix is the kickoff call. That's where we invite you and your team to have a conversation with us about what you want to see in your video. After the kickoff call, you then upload your brand assets to a shared drive. That way, we can start the animation process of your brand assets before we ever start recording. Then, you introduce us to your guest. We take over scheduling and the shipping of our studio in a box. The studio in the box includes this web camera, a microphone, and a ring light. During the recording, we film you in the ClearMix studio. It's our online platform for video recording. When your guest logs into the ClearMix studio, they will be greeted by a live producer, like me. We help frame your shot. We also help you set up your web camera, your microphone, and your ring light. The average recording at ClearMix takes about 45 minutes. Yes, 45 minutes, and that's including about 15 minutes of setup and 30 minutes of interview. After the recording is finished, our editors add your brand animations and get you your first draft within the first week. During our review process, you communicate with our editors directly. That way, we can ensure that you get exactly what you want. We then upload your finished video to the ClearMix library. The ClearMix library makes it easy for you to share the video or embed the video in your sales and marketing content. The ClearMix library allows you to create a landing page. You can even embed your videos or GIFs from your videos directly into your sales and marketing content. Our production process is designed to give you your time back. We're all so busy. We're all working from home. If I wanted to produce a video like this in my previous life as a television producer, it would have taken weeks. ClearMix makes the process of producing brand videos so much faster than anything I've ever seen in my 15 years in television production. I love that. So it was very personal for you to get out there and share this message.
Definitely.
That's amazing. What do you think people are getting from the show now? What are the nutritional facts about Young, Black, and Vegan?
I think every episode is different depending on who I'm talking to at the time. But I think one thing that they're getting, first of all, they're getting options for good vegan food outside of the house. So if you want to go and eat, but then who I'm talking to and the type of questions that I'm asking, it's really people's personal journeys on why they either chose to go vegan or what are the healthy choices that they're making in their lives. And it's not just about food. Like, I want to touch on everything from spiritual well-being to mental, emotional, and obviously nutritional.
Yeah, you're definitely, you're going to those places that we love to travel, and you're finding, healthier options. And so, you just did a big episode with Tabitha Brown, America's Mom, author, lifestyle influencer, host of her own show, but she just opened a restaurant in California, and you went out there.
Yeah.
Tell me how that came about.
Well, I said this on the show to her. Tabitha is like the world's most famous vegan right now. And so we actually had worked together some years before on a short film. I was ADing and, same thing, we clicked on set and it was like instantly family. And so I saw her from the first video that she made with the TTLA sandwich for Whole Foods. And then she just kind of like blew up and just was staying in touch like, hey, I got this show once I actually came up with the idea and like I want you on it. And so it took a little bit of time because she's super busy, but we ended up setting it up at her restaurant, Kill My Name in Encino, and made it happen.
I love that. I didn't know that you guys went way back like that. I love that anybody who sits in front of you, whether here now or on your show, you're very easy to talk to. They just open up to you.
Yeah.
One of your first guests was a convicted felon who was in prison for life over marijuana. How did you come about finding that story and telling that story?
So Corvain Cooper is who you're talking about. He's actually a good friend of mine. So I knew Corvain since I was in high school many years ago, right? And he ended up getting a case and getting convicted of marijuana charges and getting life in prison without the possibility of parole. And so, we would stay in touch through letters or talking on the phone. So once he actually got clemency and got his freedom back, I just hit him up immediately, like, I want to do an episode with you. And so we just sat down and did it. Yeah. So, if you watch that episode, everything you see is real and organic. That was my first time actually seeing him in person in, years. Because I think at the time he had spent 9 to 10 years in prison. So we hadn't seen each other in a while. But, it's instant love when we see each other again.
Yeah. I think what you are bringing to the table, no pun intended, is, you're talking about how people want their food, how people need their food unfiltered, and not modified. And you're also bringing us conversations that are unfiltered and not modified. I think that that's really important, for the future of media. A lot of people kind of following the same narrative and the same trends, but those unfiltered conversations, those authentic moments, that's really what's going to make the difference. So
appreciate that.
Your latest guest, Mr. John Salley, NBA legend.
Right, four-time NBA champ.
Four-time NBA champ. I don't know a lot about the sports.
Yeah.
But I do know that he's a famous basketball player.
Right.
And he's tall. And he's been doing this a while. But you got him to open up about health. You got him to talk about, reversing the effects of diabetes. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, he is somebody that's been vegan for a while, longer than me, actually. And so he knows his stuff. And so I just wanted to bring him on because I thought that every question that I asked him, I knew he would be able to answer and, really go in depth with like a lot of the medical things. And so, I think that any person who is passionate about health and helping people, they're going to open up because that's the purpose of the show, is just trying to help our people to make better choices.
You guys had a moment in that interview that I didn't really get.
What's that?
And it was about the sea moss.
The sea moss, yes.
So why is purple sea moss that hotness?
Sea moss, is it a difference between purple sea moss and regular sea moss? Because I've taken both. That purple sea moss, hey fellas, get some of that purple sea moss.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. So sea moss in general is good for you. It has, I believe, like 90 something of the essential minerals that your body needs. 99, I don't know the exact number, but there's something about purple sea moss. Mm-hmm. How do I say this? Let's just say for men, if you take purple sea moss, everybody will probably enjoy the results that you get from taking that. So
this used to be a spiritual show.
Yeah, so
it used to be. It's evolving. Yeah, we're talking about a lot of things this season. So is it good for the libido? Is that what you're saying? It empowers the male. The male. Everybody will enjoy it. That's what he said.
I would just say everybody will have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Multiple times, long time. Yeah.
It's fine. What other supplements are you adding to your diet, or that the audience should add?
Yeah, the only thing that I really take is, I get a lot from just eating whole foods, but I do take sea moss. I take maca powder, which is another thing that's good for the men, as well as like Brazil nuts. I do vitamin D. Living in Georgia, my doctor actually told me that this is one of the places with the lowest vitamin D numbers, and that's something that regulates like your mood and just how you feel. So I went through a place where I was feeling like super depressed, and I didn't really know why, because it was like a prolonged thing, which is not natural for me. But I took my physical, and like my vitamin D numbers were super low. So I'll take that supplement just to make sure that it's up if I'm not getting enough sunlight. So other than that, just eating.
Yeah, I think the vitamin D thing is something that we all kind of had to endure throughout the pandemic. Is we weren't leaving the house for a long time, and we weren't leaving for work, and I was getting my grocery just delivered.
Right.
I didn't really want to be outside, but I started to feel that as well. And I'm a person that if I don't come out of it quick, I'm gonna be in it for a long time. And that costs more money in therapy. Nobody wants that. So go outside, get some vitamin D or take a supplement.
Right.
So what's next for you? Young Black and Vegan is very successful, and this is just the beginning. Tabitha Brown, so at the taping of this interview, has more than 10,000 views, right?
Yeah. So far, that's like the highest viewed interview that I've put out so far. So continuing to do more interviews. Definitely got some big names I want to get in the future. Michelle Obama, Jay Shetty, you know what I'm saying? You heard it here first. Doing that, directing, I just recently released, Beats by Dre just released some stuff that I directed for them, a legacy, living in legacy campaign. So continuing just to foster the relationships that I have. Feature is in the works. So we're working.
Wow, man. You just said something here, because I don't think people picked up on this. You're still working. You're still doing projects and directing commercials and series on YouTube while doing your own thing. A lot of people feel like they have to put their idea or their project on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it important for you to prioritize your content while building for other people?
Well, the building for other people thing, those are checks that pays the bills, and then also working on projects that I believe in. And I have a lot of friends that work in the industry, so it's fun to work with them and just have a good time on set. But I also do my own thing because, this is something that I'm passionate about. I think it's a super important subject that needs to be tackled. And I want to show a different representation of what a vegan is. And I'm not one of the vegans that's going to hit you over the head like, oh, you have to do this. It's like, nah, here's some other options that could help you. And that's it. So you can go back and look at the interviews and hopefully get something from it that'll help your life, whether it's a different dish that you can eat or one of the guests might say something that might spark something in you, an idea. And so I just, at the end of the day, want to give you something that you can take away,
Yeah, you're definitely putting substance on the table. I was joking that, the show started out as a spiritual show, but it definitely is. It definitely still has a spiritual element. I'm wondering how changing your diet, changed you spiritually. What impact has it had on your spiritual life?
A lot. I mean, I think that for me, I was always kind of tapped in. Like I said, I used to be a church dude once upon a time.
Deacon Keith Terrell, everybody. Deacon.
Once upon a time. And so, I really think that everything is energy and vibration. And so if you're putting that type of vibration and energy into your system, then, and from my personal experience, that's what I attract more of, that positivity. And so I believe it just kind of changed my life by shining more light around me and out of me,
Ooh, that's good. Shining more light around.
I said it. I don't know if it was good when I
it's
said
the bars. It's bars.
Keys and codes, combinations and revelations. No longer restricted access. This is a place of elevation. He gave me power over position and wisdom for my reality. He said no weapon formed would be a match for my vitality, which brings me to this moment, this fight, this wave. I'm standing in my purpose. I'm standing in my wealthy place. Purpose Producer.